Charges laid in the killing of a 16-year-old Calgary boy.
It is alleged that the accused were involved in an ongoing dispute with him and that they had arranged to meet him.
3 other teens now facing first-degree murder charges. Plus, a flag flap at City Hall.
It's a symbol of identity and resistance against occupation.
Calgary's new mayor says it and others are also provocative. His move to end national flag raisings. And one-of-a-kind pieces.
Even if it's your first year selling work, it's a very exciting feeling to have.
By emerging new artists. Handcrafted work on sale this weekend.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news tonight. 3 15-year-old boys are now facing first-degree murder charges in the killing of a 16-year-old Calgary boy this summer. Carter Spivak-Villeneuve was found dead near a green space in Abbeydale in August. An autopsy later determined he was the victim of a homicide. This afternoon, police announced charges. Terry Fikowski joins us from Abergale Drive Northeast tonight, where Carter's body was found this summer. So Terry, how is his family reacting to this news?
Tara, Carter Spivak-Villeneuve's mother is overwhelmed, telling CTV News that she is in shock and never thought that this day would come. Now, neighbors who live across the street from this memorial, which is just steps away from where the 16-year-old was found, tell us that she comes here often to grieve her son, a loss that continues to weigh heavily on the entire community. Calgary police responded to the 300 block of Abergale Drive Northeast around 1:20 a.m. on August 1st to discover the boy dead. A neighbor who called 911 that night tells us he'd been stabbed. Homicide detectives allege the 3 accused youth lured Carter there that night. They believe he was involved in some sort of dispute with Carter and had arranged to meet him. On Tuesday, a 15-year-old was arrested by the RCMP on the Muskokan First Nation in Saskatchewan. Yesterday, 2 15-year-olds were arrested in Calgary, and today, police announced that all 3 were charged with first-degree murder. Now, the accused can't be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, and investigators say their ages only add to the troubling nature of this tragedy.
Let's boil it down to this is a stupid dispute amongst youth that probably have not fully thought through the consequences of here. And then it's got devastating, life-altering consequences for everybody involved here, and it's not worth it. But at this stage, you know, there's a group mentality and they follow through, and now look what happens.
One of the Calgary teens charged appeared in court today. The other 2 accused are slated to appear tomorrow. Now, Tara, Calgary police are not ruling out additional charges in Carter's killing and say they're hopeful that more people may come forward with information now that they have some people in custody in this case. Back to you.
Okay, Terry, thank you. Police have also charged a boy with aggravated assault after they say he was involved in a fight with his brother. That boy is in hospital with life-threatening injuries. The fight happened yesterday afternoon at a home in Glamorgan. Because the boys are youths, the identities of those involved are protected. A Calgary woman is speaking out after being struck by a vehicle in a northeast crosswalk earlier this month. She was thrown several meters and suffered bruising all over her body. But a genetic disorder may have actually saved her life. As Tyson Fedor reports, police are still on the hunt for the driver who failed to stop.
She was supposed to be on her way to a Halloween party at her friend's house in Abbeydale on November 1st.
A car came rushing past me, and I remember backing up. But as I backed up, another one had come. That's the part that's kind of really fuzzy.
Jasmine Norman was in this crosswalk on 68th Avenue and 4th Street Northeast around 7 p.m. It's only several hundred meters from her home. It's where the 22-year-old was struck by a vehicle that never stopped. Nearly 2 weeks later, she wears braces on her wrist and ankles with bruises covering the majority of her body.
Some witnesses said they believe it was a black SUV going about 120. The sounds of the cars are still freaking me out and everything. Or if I see headlights or hear a horn, instantly I get a panic attack.
The Normans also have a genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It makes joints very flexible and skin very stretchy, and even saved her life.
It's really hard when one of your children who's technically an adult is hurt. When they're little, you can kiss it better, and it works. but I couldn't kiss this better.
Even though she's all grown up, to her mother, what happened to her baby girl is a living nightmare.
Because of our genetic condition, which is 90% of the time not favorable and a pain in the butt, this time it actually saved our little girl's life.
As of Wednesday, Calgary has had 405 injury-related pedestrian collisions this year. There have been 12 fatalities and 18 non-injury collisions.
We need a cultural shift in how we approach road safety. That means slowing down, staying alert, and respecting all road users, especially our most vulnerable, pedestrians, cyclists, and children.
Police say they circled the area, unable to locate the driver. They are looking for a newer, darker colored sedan with front-end damage. Tyson, CTV News, Calgary.
Police say they are looking for CCTV or dash cam video from that night. If anyone has information, you are asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. The federal government has announced 6 new initiatives as part of its transformational projects policy. They include 3 critical mineral extraction projects, a nickel mine in Ontario, and a transmission line on the northern BC coast. Together, they represent more than $56 billion in new investment and thousands of jobs. The Prime Minister also unveiled the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor in BC and the Yukon. That will support critical mineral development. The Prime Minister says the projects will be lucrative.
They are part of nation-building strategies to transform our economies. Silesums will become Canada's second largest LNG facility with a capacity to export 12 million tons of LNG every year.
This is the second tranche of nation-building projects that will go before the newly formed Major Projects Office. Tim Brooke joins us now from the Municipalities Conference tonight. And Tim, this list is notably missing one thing.
Yes, Tara, that of course is the pipeline pitched by Alberta's government. Now, you might expect the lack of approval on that pipeline would have a lot of people in the government up in arms today, but instead what we heard was a lot of optimism that this line is actually closer to a reality today than it has been in quite some time. Now, Premier Danielle Smith spoke with reporters earlier this afternoon and said the province is confident it'll get done. The pipeline push to the west coast she's been asking for from Ottawa was not greenlit today, but as being mentioned, she is very happy with the conversations that are currently being had. Smith says there's been a recent 180 in Alberta's relationship with the feds. A lot of that has been helped along by the removal of the carbon tax and the new PM's pledge to make Canada an energy superpower.
I've been going back and forth with the Prime Minister on a memorandum of understanding. I'm very encouraged by where we find ourselves, and I'm very hopeful, and we'll know in a few days. We want to be able to do the initial work to get it on the major projects list, knowing that then there's a 2-year time frame. And I suspect if we're able to do that, that we would expect a private proponent to come forward.
The federal energy minister also talked to CTV News today, and he said he's feeling very comfortable with how these pipeline discussions have been progressing, and we're expecting a third round of infrastructure projects rather on that list to be released in the months ahead. And while Tara Smith said, as far as that pipeline is concerned, spring is currently not out of the question.
Okay, Tim Brooke reporting. Tim, thank you.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
An old rivalry seems to be on hold as 2 well-known Grizzlies get ready for hibernation. The Boss and Split Lip were within kilometers of each other, eating berries along the railway when photographer Jason Leo Bantle spotted them. The 2 bears have often battled, but the Boss always seems to maintain dominance. Tons of grain spilled by trains often becomes easy food for them, but it is dangerous too. At least 3 Grizzlies were killed on the tracks in the past 6 months. Well, it was a warm day in Calgary, but get ready for the switch up. Danielle joins us now. It could come in the next few hours, actually.
You're correct, Tara. So right now we have those gusts and winds out of the southwest. That's boosted our temperature up to 16 degrees as a high today. Not bad for November 13th in the city. We're now at 14 for the day. Now those winds out of the southwest are going to start to switch tonight and come out of the northwest. And that's a cooler wind. We're going to get cut off from the Chinook conditions, and that's why we're only looking at a high of 3 for tomorrow. In the morning hours, we will even be dealing with wind chill. It will feel more like -6 at 8 a.m., and we have a decent chance of flurries overnight tonight up until about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. Trying to stay ahead of expenses is getting harder and harder in many Alberta municipalities. Calgary is very expensive, but it's actually one of our bedroom communities where the costs are even higher. We'll explain. And Calgarians voted in favor of returning fluoride to our drinking water. Why there is fresh concern it could disappear again someday. We'll explain next. City Hall will be the site of a Palestinian flag raising this Saturday. But Mayor Jeremy Farkas says it could be the last flag raising of its kind. The mayor plans to introduce a notice of motion aimed at ending the practice of national flags being flown in front of municipal buildings. Mark Villani explains.
It symbolizes identity. It symbolizes resistance.
Bisan Jadalawan proudly holds up the Palestinian flag. The university student says she'll never stop fighting for liberation.
Like, why are you trying to suppress one people's identity?
A rally held this Saturday at Calgary City Hall will honor November 15th, the anniversary of Palestinian sovereignty. It will include a Palestinian flag raising, a decision that has some Jewish Calgarians frustrated as conflict continues in Gaza.
They say we're rallying against injustice, occupation, and genocide. It's couched specifically as an anti-Israel statement.
The city of Calgary holds dozens of national flag raisings every year. The list includes the flags of Israel, Ukraine, and for other causes such as Pride or the Transgender Day of Visibility.
We're not out there celebrating any acts of war. In fact, we're doing the opposite. We're celebrating the struggle for freedom. We're celebrating the struggle for statehood.
Obviously, you hope there won't be any violence. And then you also worry on the flip side about there being counter-protests.
But Mayor Jeremy Farkas says Calgary shouldn't take sides in international conflicts, announcing he would introduce a notice of motion to remove national flags from waving outside municipal buildings. City Hall must be a place that brings people together. National flags, particularly during times of global conflict, can have the opposite effect. Instead of creating unity, they can create division, escalate emotions, and make some Calgarians feel unsafe in a place that belongs to all of us. But not everyone agrees.
This is a place to express your views, opinions, and everybody should be free to do so.
Literally any flag that, especially if it's recognized by the United Nations, it should be not discriminated against.
And those who wish to fly this flag say they should have every right to do so.
At least we recognize that Palestine exists, right, just like we do for every otother country.
Mark joins us from City Hall tonight. Mark, Alberta's UCP government could also be introducing a similar motion like the one that Calgary's mayor is proposing.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. Coming up at the annual general meeting later this month, the United Conservative Party will vote for a number of resolutions. One of those resolutions proposed is to restrict flag raisings. They want to look at restricting flags on government property to Canada, Alberta, as well as municipalities. Now, this is something aimed at reducing division and making sure that we can focus on Canadian pride. Now, the move would be similar if it's approved to what other cities like Saskatoon or Regina have done. They've also changed their flag policies to only allow Canada, Alberta, and municipal flags. Tara.
Okay, Mark, thank you. A new report shows the climbing cost to live modestly in Alberta. The living wage needed to cover the basics jumped again in nearly every municipality in the province. And it's not just the big cities. Calgary's neighbours are seeing price hikes as well. Jordan Canagan reports.
The Airdrie Food Bank thought demand would peak over COVID, but its numbers keep climbing.
Well, 30%, 33% each year increase in numbers and the amount we're giving out and stuff like that, the need.
The cost of food keeps going up along with housing and transportation, but wages are not keeping up.
Every month when we go, the prices are up higher. And we're on pensions.
No, it just doesn't seem to stop. Every time we come to the store, stuff is higher.
You know, I get those little dollars every 3 months added to my pension, but it certainly doesn't do much to compensate for the speed at which everything is going up.
According to Vibrant Communities Calgary, 15 of the 21 municipalities tracked in Alberta saw the living wage increase. It's the amount a person needs to make to meet basic needs and live modestly.
We really heard from Calgarians that they are struggling. You know, we know that food costs were going up, but also with childcare and transportation, there's a number of factors adding a lot of pressures.
Jasper tops the list with a living wage of $31.80 an hour. Airdrie's jumped to $29 per hour. Calgary is third, up $2 since last year to $26.50.
So earning a living wage can really mean the difference between living and just getting by and living well.
The biggest driver for Calgarians seeing the cost of living climb is transportation. Insurance, gas, and registration all went up. In Airdrie, housing and food prices climbed.
We've had people come by and say, "Oh, you like the look of my truck? I live in it. So please give me things that I can just microwave at the gas station."
Jordan Canigan, CTV News, Calgary.
Calgary's living wage is now 77% higher than the minimum wage in Alberta. The agency points out there are some improvements. The move to lower provincial income tax for low-income Albertans is making a positive impact. Things are looking up for a Calgary soccer club and the entire soccer community, in fact. This is a time-lapse of the inflation of a new air-supported soccer dome this morning. It took about 2 hours to inflate. It's located at the Calgary Villains Club. That's just behind Hotel Blackfoot along 59th Avenue Southeast. The project has been in the works for more than 5 years. The 67,000 square foot facility is big enough for a full soccer game, but it will often be split into 2 or even 4 sections so multiple games can be played at once. It's an emotional day for the Villains sporting director, who says more facilities like this are sorely needed.
Just for the kids. That's what it's all about. I mean, we want kids to play soccer. We don't want facilities to be a barrier. We've got a number of inquiries already from a lot of large user groups, which is awesome, and so we're going to kind of keep working through those rental groups. But really, you could fill a dome probably 4 times over.
Field turf will be installed inside next month, and the facility is set to open in January. Other sports like ultimate frisbee and flag football can also be played there. The project cost is $6.5 million, which is all being financed from sponsorships and donations.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle in once again. So how soon are we going to see this cool down?
Okay, we're going to see it as early as tonight when the winds shift. But it's a one-day thing. We bounce back up for Saturday. After Saturday, that's a whole other discussion. I'm going to save that for a little bit later. Okay, 14 degrees is the temperature in the city right now. We got up to 16 earlier today. We got into the 20s. Drumheller, Brooks, Medicine Hat, Milk River, Lethbridge earlier today, and now we're in mainly those mid-teens at this point. Not bad temperatures, very above normal, well above normal, especially considering it's November 13th. It came at a price, though. We did have very gusty conditions. So in the city, we had mid-40s, but in Lethbridge, we peaked at 80 today. Pincher Creek, 93, and Medicine Hat, close to that 70 mark. So it's been a very gusty day, especially for communities in the far south. The winds will ease a little bit. It'll still be a little windy tomorrow, but closer to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour south of Calgary. And in Calgary, we're looking at 30 to 40. All right, the system has already begun, so we have a lot of moisture on the BC side. We will get some spillover, especially in the mountains. Higher elevations looking at a good snowfall. Up to 30 centimeters is possible for the high elevations. Banff town site, for example, just a couple centimeters. But outside of that and higher up, yes, we're looking at a good amount of snow, especially along Highway 93. Will be very poor driving conditions overnight tonight and through tomorrow morning. All right, we also have the wind warning still in place. This will be lifted likely in the next couple of hours because the winds are starting to calm, and we likely won't get up to 100 kilometer per hour gusts, but that was in place because 100 kilometer per hour gusts were certainly possible today in these communities. Snowfall warning still in effect for Banff, Kananaskis area up through Jasper, and that's because, again, 15 to 30 centimeters of snow for those high elevations certainly possible. We'll talk more about snow totals in just a second, but this is how this system should behave. We have the spillover already happening in some communities with some rainfall starting to push in, and then it's mainly snow up here. So Calgary, we're going to see a little bit of that. If you can remember the last snowfall where we had a little bit, again, it melted on contact because the ground is so warm. It'll melt, but maybe collect a little bit in the grass here. We have the potential of on-off flurries right up until about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then it works its way out, and then we'll get some sunshine later in the day. Again, when we look at amounts, this is what we can expect, just anywhere from 1 to 2 centimeters for most communities. But again, just a couple in the Banff town site, but higher elevations, anywhere from 10 to 30 centimeters of snow. Longer range forecast, your action furnace 5-day forecast. 3 degrees is our high for tomorrow, so it's a chillier day, absolutely. Flurries possible until about 10 a.m. And then by Saturday, we get back to the 10-degree mark. Then we start a long-term cool down that begins on Sunday. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. After more than a decade without, Calgarians voted to reintroduce fluoride into the water system in 2021. But just 4 years later, some in the UCP want to revisit the move, and they're hoping the government will back them up. We have more now on the reignited fluoride debate and the people it will impact most.
In 2 weeks, UCP members will vote on 35 new ideas for the party. Among them, Policy Resolution 27, a call to end the practice of community water fluoridation because it constitutes medical treatment without consent.
There's money in causing people to be frightened.
Many can't believe it's a subject being brought up again. Fluoride was reintroduced into Calgary's water system after 62% of voters said they were in favor of it in 2021.
The people of Calgary want fluoridation. They know what happened when it was taken. They had a decade of decay and they're fed up with it.
Anti-fluoride groups are currently in court and say they are lobbying the province to take away the naturally occurring mineral. Like some south of the border, they believe fluoride is dangerous.
Only about 205,000 Calgarians voted for water fluoridation in 2021, and about 130,000 voted against it. But right now, there's about 1.8 million people that are being fluoridated.
Of course, no decisions have been made, and UCP policy resolutions aren't automatically turned into law if members vote yes. But they have often been a jumping-off point for future legislation.
I think it's just another case of the UCP in general wanting to control everything in municipalities. The overreach that they've already shown is pretty significant and quite appalling.
The party, the municipal affairs minister, and the constituency associations which submitted the policy resolution all denied interview requests.
We are continuing to work with municipalities who would like input into that decision making. But, Mr. Speaker, it is a municipal decision at this point in time.
And dentists are hoping it stays that way.
It's proven to reduce cavity risk in communities that have it, across all ages, but especially in younger children. We really are acting in everyone's best interest and kind of against our own by suggesting fluoride go in waters.
The AGM starts November 28th in Edmonton. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
The UCP did send a statement saying it encourages debate amongst members, reiterating not every idea discussed will be accepted. New documents show the Public Health Agency of Canada lost more than $20 million worth of pharmaceutical products from the national stockpile this year because of what it calls a temperature deviation. Health Canada refuses to say exactly what was lost or how the temperature deviation happened, citing national security implications. The department will only say it refers to pharmaceutical products such as vaccines held in the National Emergency Stockpile. The statement says the losses will not compromise the capacity to respond to public health events. Domestic violence rates continue to rise. We'll tell you about new research on early intervention for perpetrators and success in breaking the cycle of abuse. And you may have to pay a little more to stay in a hotel room in Alberta. We'll tell you why. Domestic violence is often analyzed from the victim's perspective. Now, University of Calgary researchers are focused on the perpetrators of the domestic violence, who most of the time are men. The study relied on data from the Cochrane RCMP detachment. And authors say in order to break the cycle of violence, men need support and earlier intervention. Here's Stephanie Thomas.
According to Cochrane RCMP, domestic violence incidents rose 60% between 2020 and 2024. 78% of those charged for domestic violence offenses were men. The population grew and reporting increased. Still, Mounties say the pattern is concerning.
We can't continue the cycle of
arrest, release, arrest, release, arrest, release. The cycle doesn't break.
Researchers from the University of Calgary used this data to form key findings about the perpetrators of domestic violence. The majority of men had prior run-ins with police. A child witnessed the violence half the time. Alcohol was a factor, 49% of incidents. However, 20% of men charged with domestic violence had no previous interactions with police.
That's the win that we're looking for, is that early intervention.
Researchers say they have suggestions to prevent this category from escalating to violence.
We need to create more environments where men can be supported to work through the issues, to unlearn violence, because we've had normalized it in all of our environments.
One recommendation is to align law enforcement, service providers, and community groups with the goal to end male violence.
Prevention takes partnerships and willingness to do this work differently.
We're not social workers, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, we're just other men in the community. So we're building up our own skill sets.
While the data supports the urban, rural, and First Nations communities around Cochrane, the study author says the trend is nationwide. She's calling for other Alberta agencies to apply a prevention-oriented approach.
For 4 decades, we've been focusing on victims and post-violence, so people to prevent recidivism. That is not solving the problem. So we have to shift our focus.
Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Cochrane.
Anyone traumatized by the cycle of violence is encouraged to get support. They can visit bighillhaven.com for more information. Just ahead, he stole a bus, but he didn't get very far. That's because the alleged thief made the rounds, picking up commuters, collecting fares. The strangest case on the police blotter is next. A Hamilton man is facing charges for allegedly taking a transit bus for an unusual joyride. Police say the man stole the bus earlier this week with passengers on board after the driver got out to take a break. But the suspect then stayed on the bus route, stopping his scheduled stops and letting riders get on and off. The man didn't hit anything, and he even kept a close eye on the transit fares.
One person was looking to board the bus at the time and was turned away because their pass was invalid, and the driver made them pay the actual fare.
After about 15 minutes, officers stopped the bus without any issues. Nobody was hurt, and the driver is facing 4 charges. Huh.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. The strangest things can happen.
A little test drive.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe he wanted to see if he could be a bus driver.
Right.
I don't know. Well, we start things off with a footballing father who is teaching his son to sing.
Go.
Oh. Yeah. That's a very cute duet. This is Josh Butler. He's a cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. But in his downtime, he likes to sing with his newborn son, Psalm. He's hitting all the right notes. He can't even sit up by himself, but he seems to know when he's supposed to sing his part of the duet.
They both have very good voices.
Yes.
Right? You could tell. Huh?
Very cute. Well, to a dad singing with his son, to a mom and her son on his wedding day.
Mom, what kind of food do we have at home? Mom, I'm starving. Can you bring me some taco amigo? Bruh, can you bring me some ranchos? Mom, thanks for raising me good. I love you. Bruh, can you bring...
Okay, so instead of a traditional wedding speech, this mom decided that she was going to read out all of the text messages that her son sent her through the years. So they range from him being hungry to apologizing for stealing her food to finding the love of his life. So he actually had texted her things about his future wife. It was very cute. The funniest part is that he calls her bra. Bra, yeah, I need some food. Bra.
Yeah,
that's actually a pretty good idea when you think about it.
It is a good idea. That's a great idea for a speech.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
Well, finally, a Russian company has a bit of egg on its face. It was hoping to debut the country's first humanoid robot powered by AI. Spoiler alert, it did not go over as planned. I think they were expecting more when they set it to the theme song of Rocky. The robot marched out there and then stumbled and was down for the count, and then stagehands had to rush in and put a curtain over the robot.
They couldn't even get the curtain right.
They couldn't. The curtain was all tangled up. It was just a disaster every way you look at it.
Total fail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not good. Well, the U.S. government is back in business after a 43-day shutdown, but that didn't help the stock markets. They tumbled today. We'll tell you why in our business report.
Your Skywatch weather camera, it's a little bouncy. We have gusts around 40 kilometers per hour. That's starting to calm down for the night, though. But it will likely still be gusty right up until about 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the winds are going to shift. They'll come out of the northwest. Still a little on that windy side. We're going to get kicked off, or the Chinook winds, we're going to be cut off. I gotta find my words. We will be cut off from the Chinook conditions. So as of tonight, temperatures will plummet and we'll have wind chill to deal with again tomorrow morning. So a very big difference from the mild morning that we had today. 14 degrees is our current temperature. We did get to 16 today. The record for this day is 18.9 from 1933. So we got fairly close today. Came with some winds. Very gusty, especially south of Calgary. But temperatures got into the 20s. Brooks, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Milk River. Radar, satellite and radar, we have this system that's already starting to pour in some snowfall into the Banff area, high elevations. We're looking at a lot of snow, possibly up to 30 centimeters for the higher elevations, Banff down the mountains here. And really for Calgary, maybe a couple centimeters. If you remember how that last system behaved, where we did see some snowfall, we're going to get that tonight and through tomorrow morning, but it won't stick on the sidewalks and on the road because the ground is still so warm. But we will be dealing with wind chill in the morning. It will feel more like -6 at 8 a.m., only getting up to a high of 3 in the afternoon. So a very different day with regards to temperature. That's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. Quick little dance around here. Showers, Kelowna and Fernie for tomorrow. Dry in Edmonton, but just a high of 1. So you can see these cooler temperatures arriving. Calgary 3 degrees, Drumheller 4. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat also a daytime high for tomorrow. Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. First-degree murder charges have been laid in the death of Calgary teenager Carter Spivak Villeneuve. The 3 people charged are just 15 years old. Detectives allege they were involved in some sort of dispute with Carter and had arranged to meet him that night. Premier Danielle Smith says she is optimistic the federal government will move ahead with the pipeline project in the near future. It was not one of the 7 new projects recommended today by the federal government. Mayor Jeremy Farkas wants to end the practice of raising national flags at City Hall. He says the practice can cause divisions between communities. Visitors to Alberta towns and cities could soon see a new tax added to hotel rooms and short-term rentals. This is what Alberta municipalities are pushing for after overwhelmingly voting in favor of it at a conference. The province will still have to give this accommodation tax the green light. And as Tyler Barrow explains, not everyone is sold on it.
The growing community of Airdrie wants to cash in on tourism, and not just by attracting more visitors, but by taxing them more.
Accumulate some specific income from visitors to the community through hotels, Airbnbs.
On Thursday, the town's resolution to add a new tax to hotel and short-term rental stays was passed at the Alberta Municipalities Convention. Spearman says the city wants to add a 3% tax to short-term rental stays. Applied now, someone spending 2 nights this weekend at the Canalta in Airdrie would pay $300 for the room plus $27 in taxes. The municipal accommodation tax would add another $9. The city estimates this could bring in approximately $1 million annually.
Opportunity for us to not only support, grow, repair infrastructure, but also create opportunities for more tourism.
Some residents are on board with it.
If it's going back into my community, Airdrie, for whatever purposes, I'm all for it.
But for parents and grandparents traveling for sports in Alberta?
As a mom who travels a lot for dance sports, it ends up, within Alberta, it ends up just costing, adding a little bit additional.
Parents that are have kids in hockey and ringette, and they travel out, and I don't think they need another tax.
Over 74% of members voted in favor of the resolution. Drumheller, one of them.
500,000 are coming to the trail every year, and that takes a toll on our infrastructure, and this would be very advantageous for us.
Canmore, another community feeling the impacts of increased visitation.
We have to have a bigger wastewater treatment plant than a community with our permanent population because of our visitors.
The Alberta Municipalities Board will now present the resolution to the province. This must be done within the 3-year window. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
CTV News has reached out to the province, but we did not hear back by our deadline. Cenovus has completed its takeover of Meg Energy. The two Calgary-based companies had neighboring properties in the oil sands near Fort McMurray. With the purchase, Cenovus gets another 110,000 barrels a day of production from what had been Meg's flagship operation. The deal was worth more than $8.6 billion in cash, shares, and debt. Nervous investors sent the market sinking today. It was one of the worst days since April when all the American tariffs were announced. Here's BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez.
North American markets are deep in the red today as investors sell off big tech. Investors want to take less risk now that the U.S. government is restarting. There are concerns about all the economic data that has been delayed, like the labor reports, which could show a weakening U.S. economy. That is investors pivoting to steadier stocks. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.28. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 58.64. Western Canadian Select down almost $2.50 to 46.77. And the TSX sank 573 points, ending the day at 30,253. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marla Fernandez.
Alberta University of the Arts is getting ready to host its annual show and sale art market. It's a chance for students to test the waters and see how their work is received by the public, but it's also a chance for the public to take home a one-of-a-kind piece. Kevin Fleming reports.
She's always loved drawing, and Esther Wen has been honing her craft for the last 4 years at the Alberta University of the Arts.
Some of my art is more like realistic and environmental, and also I do a couple of drawings of animals, and the other ones are very cartoonish.
Now Wen is one of close to 90 students taking part in the 34th annual Show and Sale Art Market, hosted by the AU Arts Students Association.
We're a non-for-profit organization, so all of the money that the students sell their artwork for, 75% go to them, and then 25% goes back into the program to hire the support staff, to run the actual sale.
Julie Song says all kinds of artwork will be on display and for sale at the market by up-and-coming local artists.
What I've noticed in my time organizing the event and also participating is that we have a lot of ceramic, glass, jewelry, prints, stickers, keychains, big paintings, sculpture. It's a little bit of everything to showcase the wonders of the school.
Song says the sale comes at the end of an extensive 8-week program to help the students learn the business side of their craft.
We actually interviewed a whole bunch of local artists within the city and how they price their work, and then created like guide and formula for our students to kind of follow and gauge, like even things like overhead, the cost of your electricity at your studio.
Taya Gallon doesn't have any of her works in this year's market and is spending her time helping her friends set up their displays. She says it's rewarding when someone purchases something you've created.
These works will be in these people's homes forever, and these people are able to enjoy them for the rest of their lives. And it's a great feeling to have.
Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
The University of Lethbridge is paying tribute to a Canadian country music legend. The university's library is now home to the Ian Tyson Reading Area. The area is filled with books that were donated by Tyson's estate following his death in 2022. Tyson was a Southern Alberta icon who was raised and then later ranched in Longview. He received an honorary doctorate from the U of L in 2015. The Flames are looking for a win at home tonight. They're taking on the much improved San Jose Sharks at the Dome. Glenn has a preview for us next. Calgary tradition continues at the Grey Cup. A horse walked into a hotel in Winnipeg tonight. It's not the start of a joke. This tradition began in 1948 when a Stampeder fans brought a horse into Toronto's Royal York Hotel. The Calgary Grey Cup committee is keeping it going.
It's been awesome. Winnipeg's been outstanding. I'll say Manitoba just in general, but Winnipeg's been outstanding. Hospitality.
Fans were delighted to see Tough Enough trot into the Holiday Inn lobby. The horse will also head to Stamps House and the Winnipeg Art Gallery as part of Grey Cup festivities. The Calgary Flames will try to get back in the win column tonight. Glenn is back with us, and Glenn, the Flames are facing one of the up-and-coming teams tonight.
Tara, the San Jose Sharks are a much improved team from where they've been the last few years. As for the Flames, the struggles continue, prompting them to call up one of their top players from the Wranglers. Scoring has been a big problem for the Calgary Flames this season. Through 18 games, they've scored just 38 goals and are dead last in the NHL in that category.
Just got to get lucky, I think, a couple times here and get into a scoring rhythm. And obviously, once you see it hit the back of the net, I think it, I think the floodgates would open. So, I know we're creating a lot of opportunities and a lot of chances, which is, encouraging. But at the end of the day, you got to find the back of the net, and we plan to do that.
The team is desperate for some offense, and that's why they've summoned Rory Cairns from the Wranglers. After placing Justin Kirkland on waivers Wednesday, Cairns got the call and will play Thursday night against the Sharks.
Ever since last year, you get sent down. This is what you're working for, and why you play every day. So it's what I wanted, and I'm happy it's here and ready to go.
Cairns is the leading scorer on the Wranglers. He had 5 goals and 9 assists in 13 games, and he moves into a top 6 right away. He'll play on a line with Nazem Kadri and Joel Farabee. Cairns got in 5 games with the Flames last year, but says this time he's a lot more comfortable.
I think there's a lot of nerves for the first one, especially for me, as my first time meeting a lot of the guys and be on the ice with them. So, this time around is very comfortable and comfortable in my skin and feel good.
Head coach Ryan Huska is hoping Cairns will be a good fit on the Calgary line.
We're trying to find some consistency on that line with Naz. Farabee and Naz have a connection together. Now is trying to find someone that can play on the other side and hopefully complement the way those two are playing right now. So this gives Rory a great opportunity. He's played well for the Wranglers, and I think he's ready and he's deserving of the chance again.
Yegor Sharangovich, the odd man out tonight. Flame Sharks game gets underway in just a few minutes' time at the Scotiabank Saddledome.
Good stuff. Thank you, Glenn. Let's get our final peek at the weather, Danielle.
We still have one warm day in this longer range forecast. That's good, right?
Oh, we'll take it.
No one's answering.
Oh, we'll take it. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Right.
3 degrees for tomorrow is our high, which is normal for this time of year, but of course a departure from the 16 we had today. Flurries are possible overnight tonight through much of tomorrow morning. This system should behave much like the last one did, clearing out in the afternoon and again melting on contact with the ground. 10 degrees. On Saturdays, that's a nice, warmer, slightly windy day. And then we start a longer-term cold stretch where we'll struggle to be above the freezing mark for many days next week. Okay, weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. And our viewers are absolutely amazing, have sent so many stunning Aurora Borealis shots. Kathy Brodner sent this one in. She took this near Diamond Valley last night. Quick little, let me remove the,
It's fantastic. Got to get out of the city to see the sky like that. Beautiful. Thanks for your company tonight. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.